Lizzie Mannion, and I'm in Kentucky New Chapter with Hillary McCorder. Hillary and I are co-presidents this biennium. Like a lot of chapters, we had found that we were having a hard time filling some of our positions, especially the chapter presidency. And since Hillary and I had both done it before, and we knew that we worked well together, we knew that sharing this job would create a situation where each of us would have half as much work to do.
So some of the things that Lizzie and I have done to make this successful is we have created structures, especially relying on the technology, to make sure that all the needs of our chapter are met. So for example, we have the notes on our Apple phone that we share. And so like when we're in meetings or having conversations, either one of us can get in there and jot down ideas of these are the things that we need to get done. And that way both of us can get in there and see what needs to be done.
And one thing that Hillary and I have found works for our chapter is we have not divided up responsibilities. Like if you have a question about this, contact Lizzie. If you have a question about this, contact Hillary. We just ask our chapter members to contact both of us, and whoever answers first answers first.
And the chapter members know that they can contact either of us, and sometimes they contact both of us. Sometimes they'll only contact one, but we then share the information with the other. Like Lizzie and I are in contact with each other at least once a week, usually, mostly through text, but we'll call or other things. The other thing, before we started being co-presidents, the reason we chose to do it is, again, because like Lizzie said, we're both still actively working in education. Lizzie's teaching kindergarten right now. I'm currently working as a state literacy coaching specialist, but this is a new position for me. And I didn't know how much time it was going to take. And so stepping into the presidency on my own, I wasn't sure I had the time for it. And Lizzie felt the same way. One of the things that I think really helped Lizzie and I is that we have different strengths that kind of fit or support each other. So, for example, Lizzie is really good at just putting out that newsletter, writing that like, hey, here's how the month has gone, the nuts and bolts of it. And I'm not, I tend to take longer with that and just think about those words. So that part's really quick and easy for her. And then there's other pieces. So for example, like with the job I have now, I've worked a lot on like how to run a meeting. And so that's something that's a strength for me. So then Lizzie, can, I'm not saying that she doesn't lead the meetings because she does, absolutely. But like, I do, like, I have like the Aguilera ways to do the meeting and all that research in my brain and things like that. So I think the fact that our strengths marry each other so well has really worked to our benefit in doing this presidency together.
Something that your chapter is considering, I do think it's okay to look at personalities and consider who would work well together. Mm-hmm. If you have one person that maybe like things last minute and another person that likes to work ahead of time, they may not be the best two people to work together at the same time on the same position. So I think it's totally fine to be honest about that and look for people that will work well together, but also, like Hillary said, she's more comfortable leading the meetings. I'll do it when I have to, but I'm also very okay with letting Hillary do more of the talking. So I think it's good to look for those kinds of things and see where people really balance each other out.
Hello, my name is Carrie King, and I am a member of Gamma Chapter in Connecticut. Since joining Gamma Chapter about 8 years ago, I noticed that the group was running their program by committee. And this was probably because it was very difficult to find someone to commit to 2 years of leadership. So with that particular model, this is how we operate. At the beginning of each biennium, someone offers to be president so that international and state have a contact person to share information with. This person on the local and state level attends 3 state meetings a year and participates in chapter presidents' workshops so that they can share the state information with our chapter. Each spring, however, 2 things happen. In April, a planning chair distributes a form to each member to review the past year's programs and altruistic projects and provides opportunities to suggest new programs or altruistic programs for the next year. The main focus, however, is what we do in June. A planning chair passes around a form during the meeting for sisters to sign up to be leaders and hostesses for one meeting the following year. The leaders are essentially presidents for the day, and the recording secretary is also considered to be a person for the day. The president actually conducts the meeting. The recording secretary takes the minutes, types them, distributes them to our membership, and also sends a copy to our state president. The leaders also prepare a message in our monthly newsletter prior to the meeting, and the message can be inspirational or informational. Now, as this planning sheet goes around the room and people sign up, obviously there might be blanks where some months are not covered. So a volunteer from the group present will offer to call others who are not in attendance and ask them to sign up for a month of leadership. This seems to work pretty well for us because it's rather fluid and flexible. So during the year, if say a leader or a secretary cannot do their duty, then they would volunteer to switch a month with another group to do that. This model has been going on for quite a while. It seems to work well for us. And the fact that we plan it in June, the planning coordinator then takes all that information, types it up, and distributes it so that each chapter member has a copy prior to the September meeting. So they understand what their responsibilities are as far as which person acts as the president and which as the recording secretary. The final form that goes around also contains whatever programs and altruistic projects that we have agreed that will be part of our program for the following year. This seems to work well for us. I would encourage any chapter who is a little apprehensive to kind of think along the lines of, I only need to be responsible for 1 month. You set the agenda, you follow the agenda. The regular standing committees, our people have always stepped up to the plate and taken care of those obligations, but it's that top tier level of leadership that we feel works well in this particular format.
Hi everyone, my name is Lottie Roy, and I am a member of Florida Epsilon chapter. Joining at Florida Epsilon after transferring from a South Florida to a North Florida chapter, what I found was that Epsilon was having a little bit of a problem recycling their members to become chapter officers. We were also having a problem getting new members, which made the recycling process even more difficult. As a state leader, state president, and a Gulf leader, first Gulf regional president, I saw many models from around our nation that helped us acquire chapter officers. One of the models that we found was that we would have an officer of record and a co-officer. Most importantly, we saw that communicating what the responsibilities were for the office and having a mentor for that particular office worked out very well. The officer of record is the one that's on the record at headquarters. The co-officer, or hopefully the mentor, will become the officer of record next biennium, and the officer of record this biennium will have to take on a different co-position next biennium. This will assure that we have a proper rotation of officers and always have an office for the necessary positions required by Alpha Delta Kappa, that of president, president-elect, secretary, and treasurer. As new members join, we try to rotate them into those higher offices So we try to make sure that we have a good mentor for our president, our president-elect, our secretary, and definitely for the treasurer. In preparation for these offices, each month an office is highlighted at our chapter meetings. The officer of record communicates the responsibilities and duties of that particular office, so that if a sister is requested by the nominating committee to join our slate of officers, they're not blindsided as to what the duties and responsibilities are. This assures that we have a full chapter slate for the next biennium. Can your chapter follow this? Absolutely, no problem. 2 things you need to make sure of. You need to make sure that they feel needed, wanted, and most importantly, heard, and they are prepared for a particular office. And the second thing is, please communicate to them how much they are needed and appreciated in your chapter. Mentor them by using the leaders that already exist in your chapter. If you follow this model, I will almost guarantee that you will not have a problem acquiring a chapter slate of offices for the next biennium. Thank you.